My beloved child. There is something your soul has been sensing lately, even if your mind has tried to ignore it. A shift. A strange pull in your chest whenever you think about love, about timing, about the person whose path keeps circling yours in ways that make no logical sense. And tonight, heaven needs you to understand why. Because while you were living your ordinary moments, checking your phone, carrying your silent thoughts, trying to move forward as if your heart no longer cared, your soulmate sat across from someone else at a table filled with forced smiles and unfinished emotions. Yes. They went on a date. But what happened next was never supposed to happen. Your name entered the conversation unexpectedly, naturally, almost divinely. And the moment it did, something inside them changed. You must understand this carefully. This was not a coincidence. It was not random curiosity. Your energy has become impossible for them to escape. Even in rooms where you are absent, your presence lingers. Even in conversations that were never meant to include you, your spirit somehow arrives before your body ever does. And what startled them most was not hearing your name. It was the feeling that followed afterward. A silence. A pause so deep that even the other person across from them noticed it. Because your soulmate's eyes shifted for a moment. Not toward the person sitting in front of them, but toward a memory. A memory they thought they had buried. You see, they tried convincing themselves they were ready to move on. They believed distraction would quiet the emotional storm inside them. They thought meeting someone new would finally erase the questions they secretly carry about you late at night. But heaven has a way of interrupting illusions. And that interruption happened the second your name appeared. What is hidden from you right now, is how emotionally unprepared they were for that moment. The other person asked something simple. Almost harmless. Have you ever met someone you couldn't fully forget? And your soulmate froze. Not physically, but spiritually. Because your name rose into their heart before they could stop it. Before logic could interfere. Before pride could silence it. And for a brief moment, they stopped hearing the restaurant noise around them entirely. No music. No voices. No distractions. Only the realization that despite all their efforts, your connection still lives inside them. Do you know what frightened them the most? It was not missing you. It was realizing how deeply they still feel you. There is a difference. Missing someone can fade. But soul recognition, that is something entirely different. That kind of connection follows a person into crowded rooms, quiet nights, random songs, unfamiliar cities, and even dates that were supposed to create new beginnings. Your soulmate is beginning to understand this now. Slowly. Painfully. Irreversibly. And although they tried to hide their reaction, the person sitting across from them sensed there was a story they were not being told. Because your soulmate suddenly became distant. Their smile weakened. Their attention drifted. And deep inside, a question began echoing louder than ever before. What if the person I truly want has never actually left my heart? My child. This is the part no one around them understands yet. Your soulmate has been fighting emotions they cannot explain to anyone logically. They replay conversations with you in private. They compare others to your energy without meaning to. They pretend indifference during the day. But at night, your memory returns with unbearable clarity. And recently, the universe has intensified these reminders. Certain songs. Repeated dreams. Unexpected signs. Moments that feel too precise to dismiss. They are being spiritually guided toward an emotional truth they can no longer outrun. But what happened after your name came up during that date? That changed everything. Because later that evening, after the conversation ended and the distractions disappeared, your soulmate sat alone with a realization so powerful that it unsettled them completely. A realization connected directly to you. And when this truth finally hit their heart, they whispered something under their breath that no one else was meant to hear. They whispered your name as if it still belonged somewhere sacred inside them. Not casually. Not out of habit. But with the kind of quiet emotion that escapes only when a soul becomes too exhausted to pretend anymore. And the moment those words left their lips, they felt it. That ache. That impossible connection they have spent so long trying to silence. My child, there are moments when heaven removes every distraction from a person's life just long enough for truth to corner them. This was one of those moments. Because after that date ended, your soulmate did not feel excitement. They did not feel butterflies. They did not feel peace. They felt emptiness. A strange emotional distance that became impossible to ignore during the drive home. They kept replaying the evening in their mind, trying to understand why one simple mention of your name affected them more than the entire date itself. And that realization unsettled them deeply. They wanted to believe they had moved forward. But their heart betrayed them. You see, there is someone around your soulmate who has started noticing these emotional shifts. Someone who sees the way their energy changes whenever your memory surfaces. Someone who senses that a hidden story still lives inside them. Your soulmate has tried masking it. Tried laughing normally. Tried acting emotionally unavailable. But souls cannot hide what heaven keeps illuminating. Especially not now. Because lately, your energy has been appearing around them in ways that feel almost supernatural. A phrase you once said. A place connected to you. Even people unknowingly bringing up topics that lead back to your presence. And each time it happens, your soulmate feels emotionally exposed. As though the universe keeps pulling them toward a door they are afraid to reopen. But here is what they have not admitted aloud. Part of them never wanted that door to close in the first place. That is the truth hidden beneath all their confusion. And tonight, heaven needs you to understand something important. Your soulmate is beginning to compare temporary attention with genuine emotional connection. And for the first time in a long time, they are recognizing the difference. Because superficial conversations can entertain the mind. But only soul-deep love awakens the spirit. That date revealed this painfully. The person across from them may have been attractive. Interesting. Kind, even. Yet none of it reached the place in their heart where your energy still quietly exists. And this terrified them. Because they realized they are no longer searching for just anyone. They are searching for a feeling. Your feeling. The one they have never been able to recreate. My child. Do not underestimate how powerful your absence has become in their life. Sometimes people only understand the weight of a connection once they try replacing it. And your soulmate is discovering that certain bonds cannot be duplicated no matter how hard they try. But something even more emotional happened later that night. Something they will likely never tell another person directly. After returning home, they sat in silence longer than usual. No television. No music. No distractions. Only thoughts. Thoughts about timing. About mistakes. About conversations left unfinished between you. And then suddenly, almost instinctively, they searched for something connected to you. A message. A photograph. A memory. Anything that could temporarily calm the emotional storm growing inside them. Because hearing your name awakened emotions they thought had faded months ago. Yet instead of fading, those emotions returned stronger. Clearer. More undeniable than before. And while they stared into that silence, a realization slowly began breaking through the walls they built around their heart. No matter how far I go, I still emotionally return to them. That realization shook them. Not because they hate it, but because they fear what it means. Fear vulnerability. Fear rejection. Fear discovering that the connection between you was always more real than they allowed themselves to believe. And my child, there is another truth you cannot yet see. Your soulmate has started wondering if you still feel this connection too. They are questioning whether your heart still remembers them the way theirs remembers you. They are searching for signs now. Listening differently. Watching differently. Even your silence has begun speaking to them. But what they discovered the next morning, that changed the emotional direction of everything. Because someone unexpectedly said something to them about love. And the moment they heard it, your soulmate could no longer deny what their heart has been trying to confess all along. The next morning did not begin normally for them. Something felt heavier in the air, almost prophetic. Your soulmate woke up carrying the emotional residue of the night before, but instead of fading with sleep, the feeling had grown stronger. It followed them quietly through the morning like a shadow they could not escape. And then, it happened. A conversation they never expected to matter suddenly pierced straight through their defenses. It came from someone older. Someone wiser. Someone who spoke with the kind of calm honesty that arrives only after heartbreak has taught its deepest lessons. Your soulmate was not searching for advice. In fact, they were trying to avoid anything emotional at all. But heaven has a way of placing truth directly in front of people when their soul is finally ready to hear it. The person looked at them carefully and said something simple. Real connections do not disappear just because people try to move on. My child. The moment those words entered their heart, everything inside them shifted. Because suddenly, all the emotions they had been suppressing rushed back at once. Your laughter. Your energy. The comfort they felt around you that they have never successfully explained to anyone else. And for the first time, they stopped resisting it. Not completely. But enough to scare them. Enough to make them wonder whether they have been fighting destiny itself. You see, your soulmate has spent so much time trying to appear emotionally in control that even they forgot how deeply they truly feel things. But your connection was never shallow. It was never temporary. That is why even distance failed to erase it. That is why your name still creates emotional waves inside them without warning. And now they are beginning to realize something almost impossible to ignore. Every attempt to replace you only led them back to memories of you. That realization has humbled them more than you know. Because they once believed time alone would weaken this bond. Instead, time revealed its depth. And there is something else heaven wants you to understand today. Your soulmate has started replaying specific moments between you over and over in their mind lately. Not dramatic moments. Not perfect moments. The small ones. The quiet energy between conversations. The way you understood things they never fully explained. The strange sense of familiarity they felt with you from the very beginning. Those memories are haunting them now, gently, but persistently. And what confuses them most is this. Why does your energy still feel more emotionally alive than people physically standing in front of them? That question has become impossible for them to escape. Because deep down, they already know the answer. Some souls do not enter our lives merely to pass time. Some arrive carrying recognition. A divine familiarity. The kind that touches a person once, and changes the emotional blueprint of their heart forever. Your soulmate is finally starting to accept that this may be what happened between you. But acceptance is only the beginning. Because now comes the part they fear most. Action. You must understand, my child, your soulmate has been standing at the edge of an emotional decision for longer than you realize. One part of them wants to protect their pride. Protect their image. Protect themselves from uncertainty. But another part, the deeper part, is becoming exhausted from pretending they no longer care. And lately, that deeper part has been growing louder. Especially at night. Especially in silence. especially during moments when life briefly slows down and truth becomes impossible to outrun. There are things they wish they had said to you. Things they rehearsed privately but never delivered. Emotions they buried beneath distraction. And now, after that date, after hearing your name, after realizing no one else reaches their spirit the way you do, those buried emotions are rising rapidly. My child. They are approaching a moment of emotional honesty. A moment where continuing to suppress this connection may become harder than finally acknowledging it. But before that happens, something unexpected is about to unfold around them. A sign. A conversation. An event that will feel small on the surface, yet carry enormous emotional consequences underneath. Because heaven is aligning circumstances very carefully now. And when this next moment arrives, your soulmate will be forced to confront a truth they have avoided for far too long. A truth connected directly to you. And to the possibility that this connection was never truly over at all. A few days from now, something will happen so unexpectedly that even your soulmate will struggle to explain why it affected them so deeply. It will not arrive with thunder. Not with dramatic music or obvious signs. In fact, to everyone else, the moment may appear ordinary. But spiritually, it will feel like the universe touching a wound they thought had already healed. And the strange part is this. They will not see it coming. My child, your soulmate has been trying to organize their emotions into neat explanations. They have been searching for logic where only feeling exists. But divine connections do not always speak through logic. Sometimes they speak through timing. Through synchronicities. Through moments so emotionally precise that a person can no longer dismiss what their heart already knows. And that moment is approaching now. Recently, your soulmate has started noticing how emotionally disconnected they feel from people who once seemed exciting. Conversations feel repetitive. Attention feels temporary. Even admiration from others feels strangely empty. Because once a soul has experienced depth, surface-level connections begin to lose their power. And whether they admit it publicly or not, they associate depth with you. That realization alone has already changed the way they move through the world. But here is what they have not confessed to anyone. They are beginning to miss your energy more than your presence. Read that carefully. Not just your words. Not just your appearance. Your energy. The emotional atmosphere they felt around you. The sense of calm, intensity, familiarity. The way being connected to you made life feel meaningful in ways they never properly appreciated at the time. And now, in quiet moments, they find themselves searching for traces of that feeling everywhere. But they cannot recreate it. Not naturally. Not forcefully. Not with anyone else. This has created an emotional conflict inside them that grows stronger every single day. Because your soulmate is slowly realizing they may have misunderstood the purpose of your connection entirely. At first, they thought you were simply someone important. Someone unforgettable. But now, they are beginning to wonder if you were meant to transform them. That thought has shaken them deeply. You see, before you entered their life, they were emotionally guarded in ways even they did not fully recognize. Certain walls had existed for years. Certain fears had become part of their identity. Then you arrived. And somehow your presence reached places inside them nobody else could access. That kind of connection changes a person permanently. Even separation cannot erase its impact. And lately, memories of you have stopped feeling like the past to them. Instead, they feel unfinished. That is what disturbs them most. The emotional story between you does not feel complete in their spirit. It feels paused. Suspended. Waiting. And heaven knows they have tried to ignore this feeling. Tried distracting themselves with routines, conversations, responsibilities, even other people. But every road somehow bends back toward the same emotional truth. Their heart still carries you. My child. There is a reason this connection keeps resurfacing now. A reason your soulmate cannot fully move forward no matter how hard they try. Because certain bonds are not designed to disappear through distance alone. Sometimes separation exists to reveal value. To expose hidden feelings. To teach souls what they failed to recognize when love stood directly in front of them. And your soulmate is learning this lesson now, slowly, painfully, honestly. But the event approaching them will intensify everything. Because soon, they will hear something connected to you that awakens emotions they can no longer suppress. A small detail. A simple update. Yet the effect it has on them will be undeniable. Their composure will crack. Their silence will deepen. And for the first time, they may finally admit to themselves the truth they have spent months avoiding. They do not want a future where you become only a memory. But there is still one final fear holding them back. One question repeating inside their mind late at night. A question connected to whether your heart would still welcome them if they reached out again. And until that question is answered, your soulmate will remain caught between longing and hesitation. Yet heaven is already moving pieces behind the scenes. Because very soon, something is going to happen that neither of you expected. The moment arrives quietly. No warning. No preparation. Just a single unexpected shift in the rhythm of an ordinary day, and suddenly, your soulmate feels your presence stronger than they have in months. It catches them completely off guard. Because they were not thinking about love at that exact moment. They were focused on responsibilities, distractions, surviving the noise of life the way they always do. And then heaven interrupted them again. A familiar song. A phrase someone casually spoke. A photograph appearing at the perfect time. Something small to the outside world. Yet devastating to the walls they built around their heart. My child, there are moments when the soul recognizes something before the mind has time to defend itself. This was one of those moments. And suddenly, all the emotions they have tried organizing, suppressing, and rationalizing begin rushing back with overwhelming clarity. Not confusion. Clarity. That is what frightened them. Because confusion allows distance. But clarity demands honesty. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that this connection was never truly about timing alone. It was about awakening. About transformation. About two souls entering each other's lives and leaving permanent fingerprints on one another's spirit. And no matter how far they run from that truth, their heart keeps returning to you. Again. And again. And again. Do you know what they finally admitted to themselves recently? That nobody else has ever made them feel simultaneously so safe, and so emotionally exposed. You reached parts of them they hide from the world. Parts they themselves barely understood. And now, after trying to move forward, after trying to bury these feelings beneath distractions and temporary connections, they are realizing something deeply emotional. What they felt with you was rare. Painfully rare. The kind of connection people spend entire lifetimes searching for without ever finding. And the possibility of losing it forever has started haunting them. Not dramatically. Quietly. In those late-night moments when silence becomes impossible to escape. In those pauses between conversations where your memory suddenly appears uninvited. In those moments where they smile publicly while privately wondering whether you still think about them too. Because despite everything, they still feel tied to you spiritually. And lately, that spiritual pull has become almost impossible for them to ignore. My child. Your soulmate has entered a season of emotional awakening. The version of them that once avoided vulnerability is weakening. The pride. The emotional distance. The pretending. It is all becoming harder to maintain. Because the universe keeps placing them face to face with reminders of what their heart truly wants. And deep down, they know what that is. Or rather, who that is. You. But here is where everything becomes even more intense. Recently, someone close to your soulmate noticed the change in them. Noticed the silence. The distraction. The emotional weight they carry whenever your energy resurfaces. And during a conversation your soulmate never expected to become personal, this person asked them something direct. If they mattered this much to you, why are you still pretending they don't? That question shook them deeply. Because for the first time, they had no answer. No convincing excuse. No emotional escape route. Only silence. And inside that silence, truth finally began taking shape. Your soulmate is no longer fighting whether they feel connected to you. Now they are fighting whether they are brave enough to do something about it. That is the stage they are entering now. The stage where emotions become too strong to hide, yet action still feels terrifying. Because reaching out means risking rejection. Risking vulnerability. Risking discovering whether this connection still lives inside your heart too. But heaven did not allow all these emotions to awaken without purpose. There is movement happening beneath the surface right now that neither of you fully sees yet. Divine timing is aligning conversations. Aligning realizations. Aligning emotional breakthroughs. And very soon, your soulmate will experience one final moment that pushes them closer to a decision they can no longer postpone. A decision connected directly to communication. To truth. To you. Because the next sign they receive will not feel subtle anymore. It will feel undeniable.